Hello class, this is Katey Swann. This is my signature assignment. Throughout this class, I have discovered that businesses, no matter the size, are not always what they appear to be. Along the way, I have questioned what is right and what is wrong, and now that this class is coming to a close, I still do not have an answer. I have organized this assignment into the good, the bad, and the ugly of corporate social responsibility. In the good, we will explore the areas of cross-cultural ethics, trust in brands, and the stakeholders' responsibility. For the bad, we will assess supply chain management and life cycle thinking. And finally, for the ugly, we will have a better understanding of consumer reasoning, and I will share my personal struggle that I've had on this journey in business ethics and corporate social responsibility. CSR has different meanings and purposes for organizations. Some organizations like Patagonia and Tom's have built their entire business around sustainability and giving back to people in need. This business plan has worked out well for them as they have built a loyal customer following. In 2010, the multinational corporation Unilever set 3 goals: to help more than 1 billion people take action to improve their health and well-being, to halve the environmental footprint of making and the use of their products, and to enhance the livelihoods of millions. Unilever has educated over 1.24 billion people on the importance of hand washing, and as a result has saved lives and earned a profit for Unilever. Alan Jope, CEO, says it's not about putting purpose ahead of profits, it's purpose that drives profits. It is difficult for businesses to operate in multiple countries and being held to different standards across the globe. This is where the question of ethics comes in. Corporations in America know what the standards are in this country, and corporations should not attempt to avoid those standards by moving their operations overseas. Instead, in order to practice safe working conditions and environmentally sustainable practices, organizations should embrace the law above the law and commitment towards ethical practices that sustain society, the organization, its suppliers, and customer base for the long term. It is important to the consumer that the products they are purchasing are making a difference. In 2018, 88% of the people polled in the US and the UK would like companies to help them be more environmentally friendly and ethical in their day-to-day lives. Ethical and sustainable practices are also proving to be good for business. CSR-conscious companies like Tom's and Patagonia have had higher profit margins and lower risk of unethical practices in their supply chains. Tom's website shares the importance of transparency in its supply chain management in order to minimize the risk of slavery and human trafficking. Tom's and Patagonia have established well-known brands that a consumer can feel good about purchasing. This emotional reaction that a buyer feels builds trust with the brand and gives the consumer a way to self-identify with the brand. Consumers are more likely to pay a premium for products from brands they trust. People all over the world are concerned about the environment and the sustainability of the products they are purchasing. This concern encourages people to educate themselves about the companies they are purchasing their products from, because consumers want to know where their products are coming from and the impact it has on the environment and the communities in which they operate. Stakeholders have the ability to influence the corporation's CSR efforts by rewarding or punishing a company's behavior. Ignoring supply chain CSR issues may actually present companies with greater risk, indicating that it is not only industry's ethical responsibility, but also in their best financial interest to proactively prepare a comprehensive strategy for supply chain CSR. Most consumers have no idea if the product they are purchasing is coming from a sustainable company, let alone a sustainable supply chain. If an organization is producing ethically responsible products, it should have no problem sharing exactly how products are being made. Sharing this information with the consumer allows everyone involved in the supply chain, including the customer, to be held accountable. Apple's supply chain is a far cry from an ethically established one. In 2010, it was reported that Foxconn, the main manufacturer of Apple products, had 17 employees commit suicide on the factory grounds as a result of the working conditions in the factories. When investigating the suicide, it was discovered workers had worked 13 consecutive 12-hour days to prepare for the release of the first iPad. Apple has responded by working on educating its suppliers' employees on their rights. Apple's supplier responsibility page boasts its fair working hours in its facilities and the fact that 17.3 million people have been trained on their rights since 2007. It's not just the factories manufacturing Apple's products that raise alarm about workers' rights in other countries. Even more disturbing is how the minerals used in electronics are mined. 30% of the world's supply of coltan, a mineral used in electronics and medical equipment because of its heat resistance, is found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The DRC has more than 30 armed groups running mining operations, which has forced 2.7 million people from their homes and over 200,000 people more into slave labor. Life cycle thinking is thinking about the end of the process at the beginning. If we can shift our mindset from one of producing waste in our production and consumption and eliminate waste altogether, we can adopt the mindset of a circular economy. The circular concept supports an effective way to use all of our resources without waste. Having a sustainable supply chain from start to finish protects the people and the land manufacturing our products. One organization which has adopted the circular mindset is Interface, who has been working towards a goal of producing no waste by 2020. According to Interface's website, they have reduced their carbon footprint of their products by 66% since 1996. It is companies like Interface that have engineered a sustainable system and are encouraging other companies to fall in line. Consumers want to trust the brands they purchase, and they want to feel good about the products they bring into their home. In general, most consumers perceive themselves as morally and ethically just in their purchasing decisions. In this take-make-waste society, we are frequently reminded of the impact our purchasing decisions have on the environment. This reminder to the consumer is that they may not actually be ethically and morally justified in their purchases, which causes mental and sometimes physical discomfort. This internal conflict one experiences is due to the inconsistencies of beliefs and attitudes, which is called cognitive dissonance. Organizations can get away with not doing the right thing because consumers do not want to confront the possibility that their participation in modern economy is equivalent to being complicit in the unethical actions of organizations. One area I am struggling with is doing the right thing may not always be good for business and in return has a greater consequence on the community. I have definitely experienced my own cognitive dissonance throughout this class. In week 4's discussion board, I wrote about Apple, but originally I was going to write about GM. I felt strongly about the organization sending jobs overseas after receiving a government bailout. In a CNBC News report, one of the anchors mentioned if GM had continued to keep their operations in the United States, even if it didn't make economic sense, they could possibly now be bankrupt, and how would that have benefited the American taxpayer? Naturally, as humans, we want to be consistent. If we're not consistent in our choices, we are considered flighty and erratic. This is not an admirable trait. No one wants to be considered as inconsistent. Changing my mindset on issues I thought I already had an informed opinion on was mentally uncomfortable. I think I have discovered my high horse may be more of a mini horse. Not because I do not care about workers' rights and the environment, it's actually quite the opposite. I know more now, so I care more. However, it is exhausting thinking if the office supplies I'm purchasing are coming from a sustainable source, or if the toilet paper I purchased from a big box retailer is actually helping people in need, and if I'm actually making a difference after all. Maybe this is where I play into my cognitive dissonance. I will be more mindful when making larger purchases, but I will do what I can within my community and make an impact within my home. But I know that I and I alone cannot clean up the Great Pacific Trash Heap. There are many practical applications I have learned from this class that will allow me to lead companies more ethically and raise awareness with sustainable products and services. There is a value I never knew of before when it comes down to researching an organization and their mission to make the world a better place. Thank you.